Mangwanani Manelepo Vukenjani Class Vana Ve Africa. I'd like to welcome you to Africa. Good morning. This is your portal into Africa's potent stories. Today's broadcast begins in Togo, where former defense minister and presidential sister-in-law Marguerite Gnakadé faces an explosive arrest warrant. We then turn to Gabon's launch of legislative and local campaigns after last year's coup, before exposing Kenya's of the week with Noble Eiaseb. Watch us on DSTV 285, GOTV 25, 1up2.com and NTV Africa on YouTube. Keeping in mind that ShopRite is turning 35 and they don't want to do it alone. They want to celebrate with you. Have a look at the details on your screen right now and find out how you can win a 3,500 Namibian dollar voucher as ShopRite proudly turns 35. My name is Ashwin Berry. This is Africa Good Morning. Top stories shortly. This is Africa Good Morning. Let's get into our top stories. Marguerite Gnakadé, a former defense minister of Togo and widow of Ernest Gnassingbé, has been arrested at her Lome home by security forces. As sister-in-law to long-ruling President Faure Gnassingbé, her vocal calls for his resignation and support for protests against dynastic rule mark a significant shift in the political exiled opposition figures. Gnakadé, who once made history as one of the first women to hold a defense portfolio in Togo, had urged for a national transition, drawing support from youth movements like M66. Deadly protests earlier this year, sparked by controversial constitutional reform allowing Gnassingbé to extend his grip on power, have heightened tensions. The regime denies links to killings during crackdowns, yet bodies were found in Lome's rivers. Opposition groups, including Touche Pa Ma Constitution, condemned her arrest as an abuse of power. Judiciary sources suggest she could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted, while activists demand her immediate release. We move on to our next story. Gabon has officially entered its next electoral stage following Brice Oligui Nguema's April 12 presidential victory, which ended decades of Bongo family dominance. Legislative and local elections are set for September 27 and October 11, with campaigning launched on September 17 by Interior Minister Hermana Imongolt. Describing unprecedented enthusiasm, he highlighted nearly 1,600 candidates vying for 145 parliamentary seats, alongside 17,000 others contesting municipal and departmental positions. These elections hold particular weight as councillors elected would indirectly choose mayors, assembly heads, and senators. More than 20 parties are participating, including Nguema's ruling UDP and PDG of former President Omar Bongo. Seen as pivotal in consolidating Gabon's post-coup democratic transition, the elections follow the August 2023 ouster of Ali Bongo after more than half a century of family rule. Political observers note the wide participation of the large turnout of candidates reflects high public interest in shaping the country's future governance structure. The outcome of these polls is expected to solidify Oligui Nguema's roadmap for reform. Moving on, we are in Kenya. where Kenya's pension and health insurance systems designed to guarantee dignity and care are at the center of a fraud scandal that has deprived citizens of billions. Auditor General Nancy Gatungu's 2024 report uncovered over 260,000 fraudulent cases and revealed that 67 billion Kenyan shillings were siphoned off through fake pension schemes between 2013 and 2020. Retirees like Violet Akoth Nyatol, who lost 2.4 million shillings, represent widespread suffering as corrupt officials colluded with bank staff to divert funds. Health contributions Adendwale exposing 35 hospitals accused of stealing $804 million. Citizens such as Geoffrey Mwaniki have been forced to pay out of pocket when SHA systems went down. Despite promises to digitize pension payments from July, trust has collapsed. Older Kenyans continue to die waiting for benefits, while mandatory contributions remain in place. The scandal spans ministries from foreign affairs to judiciary, leaving families powerless. Instead of protection, the schemes have become symbols of betrayal as well as systemic exploitation. In our next story, Ghana has tightened visa procedures for Chinese nationals as part of a sweeping crackdown on illegal small-scale mining known locally as galamsey. Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa announced that group visa applications will no longer be accepted, requiring all applicants to undergo in-person interviews in Beijing or Guangzhou. The policy follows concerns over Chinese involvement in environmentally destructive mining, which authorities described as an existential threat to rivers, farmland, and forests. Ablakwa The move barred foreigners from the sector, aiming to stabilize currency flows and capture greater value from gold production. Ghana, Africa's top gold producer, continues to struggle with illegal mining despite repeated interventions. Officials warn the practice is undermining sustainable development, sparking protests, and polluting key resources. The latest measures signal Ghana's determination to safeguard its environment while attracting legitimate investment. In the last of our top stories, well, second last, across Africa, soaring fuel prices are deepening financial struggles, with transport, food, and basic commodities becoming increasingly unaffordable. September 2025 data from Global Petrol prices list the Central African Republic as having the continent's highest fuel cost at $1,889 per litre, followed by Senegal, Zimbabwe, Burkina Faso, and Cameroon. Ivory Coast, Malawi, Uganda, Morocco, and Kenya complete the top 10. While some nations like Zimbabwe and Kenya recorded slight reductions from last month, others saw increases that squeezed citizens' budgets. Rising transport costs are forcing households to cut spending on essentials like healthcare as well as food, while small and medium enterprises face mounting operational challenges. Delivery services, logistics, and manufacturers are particularly hard hit, with inflation spreading rapidly to consumer goods. Politically, fuel price spikes often trigger protests, shaking public trust in government. The continent's average still trails the global price of $1.31 per litre, but the disparities highlight fragile economies. Citizens continue to demand accountability as governments struggle to balance fuel subsidies, currency volatility, and investor confidence in volatile markets. And in the last of our top stories on Africa Good Morning, Zimbabwean billionaire Strive Masiyiwa, renowned for pioneering mobile telecommunications through Econet, is now building Africa's digital backbone via cassava technologies, quietly consolidating fiber networks, data centers, and cloud services. Masiyiwa is preparing for an artificial intelligence revolution. Cassava's liquid intelligent technologies operates over 100,000 kilometers of fiber across multiple African states, connecting millions of users. Its Africa Data Centers arm provides secure storage and processing power for banks, governments, hospitals, and businesses, forming one of the continent's largest open access facilities. Cloud services under Liquid C2 and the Cloud Mania give local institutions independence from foreign providers. Masiyiwa now plans to establish 5 AI factories designed specifically for artificial intelligence workloads to boost local development and enhance data security. These facilities will give African innovators computing power to build homegrown solutions. By controlling multiple layers of infrastructure, Masiyiwa has positioned cassava to drive digital transformation across the continent. His new initiative aims to place Africa not only as a consumer of technology, but as a future global leader in artificial intelligence innovation. Those have been our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Just after the break, we're going to be talking about the Nuclear Expo. Well, technically, Glenn Nora Shipura will be talking to Noble Eiaseb. But prior to that interview, let's have a look at the weather.
In the studio, we are joined by Noble Eiaseb, the National Strategic Project Research Assistant. Do forgive me if I have mispronounced your. Talk about the Nuclear Expo.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. First of all, just a little bit of a background on the Expo. So we are hosting a regional nuclear expo, raising awareness on nuclear science and technology. This has been capacitated by the Chevening Alumni Program Fund, which gave a grant to Ms. Nelao Njala through the UK government, and that was facilitated by the British High Commission in Namibia. So what the aim of this expo is to basically raise awareness within Namibian learners about nuclear science, nuclear technology, because there's this misconception that nuclear is only about nuclear bombs or power plants. So we are trying to have a expo of raising awareness where we want to raise possible other careers, whether that is in the agricultural sphere, whether that is in the health sphere, whether that is in research and development or environmental monitoring. So what we are doing basically now is we have 3 teams that are traversing throughout the country. Team 1 will be going through Ochivarongo, Ocho, Opuo, Otapi, and ending in Oshakati. Team 2 will be going through Enana, Nkurenkuru, Rundu, Katima Mulilo, and then Omuthia. Team 3 will be going through Hobabes, Marintal, Kietmanswop, Ludretz, and Roshpina. So the teams have already started, so I'll also be leaving immediately after the interview on our expo.
Yes.
Yes.
It looks like you have quite your hands full with, this expo. How important is it? I know you did mention like on giving, exposure to school-going children on the fact that nuclear power is not necessarily only atomic bombs and what have you. But how important is it that the average Namibian child can access information, but beyond that also maybe pursue careers in nuclear power, which, like you said, is a diverse range?
Yes. So what we want to let the learners know is, because look, if we are talking about nuclear science and technology, if you, let's say, for example, let's look at the health sector. We are moving into a direction where we need to capacitate and have our health professionals reach remote areas, right? So nuclear science and technology does help that. So we want to have a Namibian child say, I want to become an oncologist to help or fight cancer, whether that is now early detection, fighting the disease, like before it spreads and so forth. Or also in the agricultural sphere, where we are faced with food security issues, where we are faced with water scarcity issues. So here we come in with issues such as isotopic hydrology, where we look into our underground water sources, when we look into our aquifers, where we look into possible contaminants in our groundwater. How do we go about fixing that problem? And also when in the agricultural sphere, what we also want to do is we want to bring in pest-resistant crops that can withstand this climate change situation. And then when it comes to research and development, which is something that is very, very critical for our future as a country, and then also environmental monitoring and so forth. So there are various other careers that are important, because look, what as our President, Her Excellency Dr. Gnakadé says, we want to capacitate the Namibian house. We want to build a strong human capital for our country. So with that, our President is saying, we want to create a nuclear sector for ourselves, right? So that, because we are the third largest uranium producer in the world, we are supposed to be the forerunners in this industry. We are supposed to be the people that other countries come to. So we want to have aspects of mineral beneficiation within the country. So with that also now helping our socioeconomic standing, pulling out the youth from unemployment, creating other areas. So for example, let's say there are a lot of unemployed graduates or even underemployed graduates. So how do we try to bring a synergy between these aspects, and also having a strong human capital? Now, the greatness about this expo is that we are starting at the ground level, where it is the grade 9 to grade 12, that is the target audience currently. And then there are teachers and their counselors. So we want to create that ethos of sparking that enthusiasm for the learners. So I think in that regard, the expo
partnering in this event to showcase real-world nuclear science applications.
Okay, so every team, all from the 3 teams, it is made up of experts, whether those are specialists in nuclear science, whether those are specialists in environmental science, whether those are specialists in the agricultural sector or hydrology or things like this. So every team is made with the Ministry of Health and Social Services in June 2022. What they actually did was they had an outreach for nuclear science and technology. The only problem of that happened there was meager resources only enabled them to only reach students in Windhoek or perhaps in commerce. So with this expo, what we're trying to do is we want to reach as many underserved areas in Namibia, and also trying to bring a great exposure. So here we have key areas. Let's say, for example, the Chevening Alumni Program Fund is involved with their grant. The British High Commission and the UK government are greatly involved. We have the Rossing Uranium, a great partner. Rossing Uranium, a great partner in this regard. And Namibian Atomic Energy Agency, we have them on board. We have MESAC, the Ministry of Education, and then we have the National Commission on Research, Science and Technology, my employer, NCRST, and then we have UNAM involved, we have NAST involved. So what we actually also further want is for other key players to come on board. So what we want is mining giants. Let's say, for example, your B2Golds, let's say your Dantes, your Langer Heinrich, your Navaja, your Uranium One. We want the key players to come, because what we want to do is we want to create a strong working workforce for Namibia. We want to prepare. We don't want to find ourselves that we have created this nuclear sector and then we have to import expertise.
Yeah.
So right now, while we are still envisioning this sector, we want to capacitate our people.
Speaking of that, how do the planned exhibitions and competitions rather help break down the complexity of nuclear science for learners? And I think it's not only just for learners, just for the average Namibian.
Yes. So what we are trying to do is we are going to have quizzes, we are going to have exhibitions that are nuclear science based, right? So what we'll do is, like, let's say, for example, and a great aspect that I perhaps must also mention is, for example, if we are going to, let's say, Otjiwarongo, the Ministry of Education has been so kind to actually bring in schools from the surrounding areas. So the congregation is actually from all the surrounding areas of that specific region. So various learners from various communities are actually coming to that focal point. So that is something great. So in that sense, we are having, let's say, for example, various teams that are going to be doing exhibitions, learners. So, you know, learners are very creative. So we tell them, look, here's the areas that we want you to look at. How you go about that, what you do, it's up to you, right? So they come up with their, whether that is their project or whether that is their exhibition. So but we want key areas, how does nuclear science and technology affect the health sector? How does it affect, let's say, agriculture? How does it affect research and development? What is it? How does it actually go? How does it go combined? And how is it synergistically able to propel Namibia into greatness, so to speak? So we leave that to the learners. So there will be various prizes that they will win, and then we are going to be sharing quite a bit of information. And also another aspect is we are going to be working in tandem with the teachers and the counselors that are working with the learners, because what is important is that these are the first contact of the learners. So we want to capacitate our teachers, we want to capacitate our counselors, we want to work with our international partners so that we can have exchange programs for our teachers, so that we can also have situations where we have a, let's say for example, a collaborative network of the teachers, so that we know, look, this is where the interest is lying, this is where the learners want to go, how can we bridge the gap? So where are the scholarships? Which research institutes will come in? Because the idea is not to only finish with this expo in this 1 week, because it's a very short period of time, right? What we want to do is we actually want to have a longer duration, so that we can actually also reach remote areas. So, but as I said previously, this grant has capacitated us to be able to make this what I call this marathon. Because it's all over the country. We are reaching the length and the breadth of the country. But what we would actually envision and hope for is to actually have a longer period of time where other partners come on board, so that we can be able to reach remote areas. Because we want to also move into an area where we actually also capacitate the communities where the learners are coming from, so that the parents know, so that the conversation of nuclear science and technology is actually also at the home. Right. So those are the key areas that we want to look at.
No, I'm looking forward to, especially when you're at the stage where you can capacitate the community, because I feel like everybody needs to be hands-on, exactly. Especially when we're trying to build a new sector and be the front runners globally. And I love what you are doing. Looking ahead, what long-term outcomes do you hope this expo will have for Namibia's STEM education and innovation landscape?
So, one thing that I would say, our higher education institutions have been doing great, especially in the STEM area. But what we want to do, what we want to capacitate and we want to come in is, we want to move and actually elaborate more on the nuclear science and technology aspect, right? So we want to have a Namibian child say, I want to become an oncologist. I want to become an isotopic hydrologist. I want to become a advanced researcher in R&D for the country. So we want to have that. We want to spark that enthusiasm amongst the learners. We want to break down the stereotypes that are actually associated with nuclear. Every time people hear nuclear, they just think about atomic bombs or power plants, and we want to demystify that. So in doing so, what we want to do is we want experts, Namibian experts, that will be able to run the coming industry. We want to have a situation where we can send out our learners or our students or our graduates or our unemployed people want to incorporate them into the Namibian fabric, into the human capital of the country, right? So we're looking forward to working collaboratively with the learners, with the teachers, with the counselors, with the directorates of education, with the various principals, and also community members, which is something very important. Another aspect that we want to actually incorporate also is traditional authorities, which actually have a very, very strong standing in the communities. They actually get listened to quite a bit more than certain sectors of the government. So what we want to do is we want to have a holistic approach to this expo. So STEM is great. Let's incorporate nuclear science. Let's incorporate nuclear technology. Let's demystify the nuclear sector. Let us be in charge of our resources. Let's bring back what they say. Let's make Namibia great.
Yeah, let's make Namibia great. I love it, and I absolutely love what you and the organization is doing in terms of nuclear science. And of course, we are looking forward to the report after the expo has taken place. So we will invite you back to come give us an overall report.
Definitely. We would love to do that.
Thank you so much. We will be right back after this.
And that has been a week of Africa Good Morning. We return on Monday as Mike Sichula delivers the Zambia report. And of course, we'll be bringing you the latest updates from across the continent. Right now, Malawi is counting votes. However, both sides have been claiming victory. So on Monday, we'll be giving you the final results of the Malawi election, which has pitted Peter Mutharika with Lazarus Chakwera, who is the incumbent. My name is Ashwin Bedi. This has been Africa Good Morning. Do enjoy your weekend. Sweda Zlakanaka.